startups, entrepreneurship, starting your own new business. Join me every week as we dive into stories, topics, and advices from the top founders, innovators, the crazy ones, the misfits, the troublemakers. Every Saturday at 4 p.m. I'll see you there.
How was the process of actually working with the US market for you?
I dived more into what really the meaning of personal branding means, and then I start teaching personal branding.
If I want to ask you what a digital marketing company is and what kind of promises you guys make, just to learn more about what you guys do.
And online, you have to be bold to be noticed, but I'm not talking about you can be with super pink and glitter makeup bold.
We really need to understand how it works and how it can benefit us.
Everyone brings their skill on the table on the clients. It's not just one person working on one client. Everybody has their own role.
Hello, and my name is SaadAhmedAllahwala. Welcome back to the podcast after a whole while with this new series where we are going to be interviewing businesses, founders, and entrepreneurs in the US region mainly, because now with the new startup that we're taking forward, and US being the market, we're trying to get people from different regions now to give their feedbacks, but also to learn about them and how they started their journey. Today, we're talking to Ada, who is from Destin, who's now in Destin, and is running a digital marketing company. And I've seen her quite a bit on LinkedIn and Facebook, and I always look at her. I'm flooded with her posts all the time, and I want to learn more about what she's doing, what she has, what kind of plans she has, and how she got all the way here from. Where did you come from? I mean, that's gonna be my first question. So when I say from Destin, where should I say where are you from?
Well, originally, thank you for having me, and good to see you finally. And thank you for having me in your podcast. My name is Ada Bowman, Adriana Bowman, but I go by Ada.
Ada.
And originally, I am from Romania, and my mother is Italian and my father is Romanian.
Wow.
So I lived in Eastern Europe until the age of 17, and then I left in Japan, and I lived in Japan for 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's how I kind of got into the business world very early in modeling. And I got my first contract when I was almost 18 in Japan. So I started with modeling and being in media, and I kind of hands-on training of how like importance of the media. And we're talking about in 2000s. That was like before any social media platform
Before I was
was.
born, 2002.
Yeah, I was in 2000. Yes.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so I lived across the world in many places, including Japan. But in Japan, I met my husband 16 years ago. So I met him in Japan, and then I came to United States about 16 years ago. I have a son. He is 15 years old. And yeah, today, first day of school. So yay, that's fun.
An early morning for everyone. So now you are running a digital marketing company, if I'm correct.
Yes. So when I got here, I had a bit of a culture shock and I did not know what to do. I was very lost in terms of like, what do I want to do? So I tried various avenues in my skills and my talents that I possessed at the time. And it was challenging until I figured out what do I really want to do. In the meantime, I was following few mentors online, and typically, you know, you find something, mentors or two, and you kind of stick and you follow them around forever. So I was following Gary Vaynerchuk for a while, And just something stuck with me. I was like, well, if I do videos and I post videos and I tell people what I do, then they will know what I do, and I keep promoting what I do. So I start getting more into the digital marketing, and that was about probably 8 years ago now. 8 years ago, it was like I didn't know nothing, but I did study courses and what was available at the time. No, I don't have a high bachelor degree in marketing. However, I have a digital marketer certifications that are credited as much as, high school and bachelor degree, and there are credited. And let me just put it more in a simplified way. They're very, very intense. Digital marketing is very intense. So why I mentioned digital marketer is because 1 year I was at my agency in my office, and I saw Gary Vaynerchuk is having an event at Digital Marketer, and he was speaking. So I went to the event, and I got to actually see him and sit with him in a room and talk to him and meet him in person and exchange some value. Maybe not so much from me, but I got more value in terms of support and encouragement. And I think that kind of gave me a little more confidence. Then I started taking digital marketer, and I realized that there is a frame of work in how actually this works. And if you follow that frame of work, and if you understand the psychology, sociology that it's actually required and it's involved in marketing. So I was very intrigued about the complexity of it. I think I tend to go towards complex things for some reason. So yeah, that's how I started. I started from nothing, and I just one day decided that I'm going to start doing videos. I started doing videos talking about self-development from books. And I just been persistent and continuing doing lots and lots of videos. I invested financially and time in the beginning to set an example of an expert in the field and to generate clients for my business.
That's awesome. And it's really true that surprisingly, I didn't know about Gary Vee until maybe 2-3 years ago. Even though I've been watching content online all my life since I'm so young. But it was really, but even with my dad, every single time when I saw him, he's been making videos for the past 16 years that I've seen. And he always says, just put your content out there, put yourself out there and present whatever you're doing. And the result will come automatically. We just have to really put ourselves out there. So it's very true. And so how did you, I'm still curious. You said you tried a few things before when you came here. What were the other things before marketing?
I was in real estate. Well, I was prior. When I got here, I started in real estate.
Oh,
And I was a real estate agent. I'm still licensed real estate agent. Just wasn't quite my calling. I wasn't happy about the fact that you have to chase a commission and you may get it or not. The management of people emotions, it's taxing to your own emotions and to your own well-being. It can be. And I also didn't like the fact that there was really no freedom. Even if it says you're a real estate agent on your own hours, the reality is you're not on your own hours. You are on the client hours. And that's pretty much a lot of nonstop if you want to be like, when I say nonstop, except sleeping. So I did not like that so much. And that I tried art as a hobby, and it's still more of a hobby. And I did get good and I was like, oh, I'm gonna make a business in art, and I'm gonna be a featured artist. And I developed art coffee books, and I took my books to Hong Kong, and so I tried various things in that field. And monetary, it wasn't making sense either. So financially not making sense, I then realized, okay, I do have to invest in something that financially makes sense and time, because, you know, I need a job. I need to pay my bills too. Like we all do, right?
Yes, you do. And then just finishing off with the whole journey part. You did start, and then how was the process of actually working with the US market for you? How did that go? Um, what kind of tips would you have with people who want to actually start their business here and start acquiring customers? What kind of things should they have in mind?
The first thing I would say is nurturing. Nurturing, there is for me, that worked very well. I nurtured the relationships I made. I constantly created events and I put myself out there, even if it was 2 people or 30 people. To me, it didn't matter how many count. It mattered that I did it, right? And I just put myself out there every single day, and I have a strategy in combination of my content. I show some personal in a conjunction, in a mix, in a sense, with personal with professional. So I do personal branding and professional, because like having, like, you can post all day long tips, right? But people really like to see a little bit of your personality and to see you as who you are as a human and what do you do and how's your life, and people are interested in people. So I incorporated a strategy in personal branding, and then I dived more into what really the meaning of personal branding means, and then I start teaching personal branding, because I've learned on my own what worked for me to sustain a company in business as a woman, as a foreigner in terms of that being said, in international level. It's not easy. So what I did, I just kind of been there every single day as much as I could, a little bit much sometimes. Like I have friends that, oh, I see you so many times. I'm like, yeah, well, depends on what page you are. So yeah, I consistently put myself out there, tell people what I do without being afraid, telling them what I do and how can I help them. And online, you have to be bold to be noticed, but I'm not talking about, you can be with super pink and glitter makeup bold, but you can also be bold in your own way, which I recommend everybody to self-express in their way.
Yes.
So I self-expressed and what I had the best, you know, and modeling was something in my career that helped me to start, and I continued that journey until today. I still do modeling here and there, but mostly helped me to cater my content more bolder, so it's not so like boring, right? Like people don't like boring. Who likes to like, I don't like boring stuff. I scroll through in 3 seconds, right? I don't even have 5 seconds spam attention. Unless it's really good quality that catches my eye. And that's really, I realized that it's important to have a strategy, that it's important to pay attention to what you put out there, especially when you put yourself.
That's very true. Um,
Some tips that I have, it would be practice as much video as possible. Like even today, I still do videos, and there are times when I use my phone, and I'm not a genius in a sense of memorizing paragraphs, but I can tell you the tips that I do. I do use a teleprompter. I do use a script. I do take many takes until I feel is a good take. There is editing involved, so you want some apps that can help you editing your content to be a little bit more like, better. The technology today makes things so much easier. Like, it's overwhelming, right? I genuinely could not put my finger on which not platform, but like what tools and how many tools they are out there.
Really?
So find the tool that works for you and just kind of stick with that. Don't be afraid to also experiment with new tools. In terms of content, try to be playful, in sense of like, yeah, you can throw digital marketing here and there. And especially my professional page, you don't see much of me. But I change, like I share from my personal to business very little, but the business on my personal, I share the same way, very little. So it's very calculated. It's to be balanced. As long as it's balanced and we don't push in the people's throat,
Yeah.
digital marketing. Because at the end of the day, what they want, it's not the digital marketing, is the results.
Yeah. So so if I want to ask you what a digital marketing company is and what kind of promises you guys make, just to learn more about what you guys do.
So we are a team, and everyone brings their skill on the table on the clients. It's not just one person working on one client. Everybody has their own role. And we emphasize, like, instance, if they opted for, let's say, social media package, we opted for high quality content. But it's not just that. There is a checklist of descriptions of really what tasks, and there are about 25 tasks daily that we improvise and implement every single day, like sharing, following, engaging, making sure that we talk with the community online, making sure that we reach out to them, saying hello, not necessarily a sales pitch. I don't solicit anybody on sales pitch. I solicit is like, if they know somebody that they need marketing services, to let me know, and I'll be glad to also help them. So in terms of getting business, is definitely putting yourself out there, make sure you deliver a good job in what you do. Like I said, if it's social media, then high premium content, be consistent, apply all the policies, the tasks. Depends on what the client needs and their budget at times, because not everybody can start with a big package, right? Like step by step, some of them, or some of them can start with all of it. So it's I call digital marketing really it's like a doctor. Let's diagnose what your business is suffering of, and let's prescribe the right medication without wasting time and money.
That's true. That's really true. And now in the age of everything being digital marketing is really, we really need to understand how it works and how it can benefit us.
Well, I educate my clients. I take the customer value journey and I explain to them that there are 8 steps psychologically for a user to go through the value journey, from the first step of awareness all the way to promote. Mm-hmm. So it's not an easy step, seeing an ad on social media or a Facebook post or a TikTok post and suddenly it's business. It doesn't come that way. I'm not saying it's not possible to not have a sale from one post, but I'm saying it's not really how it works. It's accumulating over time the consistency of the brand and build a blueprint brand so that people can really learn to trust to buy from that brand. And that just takes time, money, and effort.
That's true. This part I want to actually get feedback from you. So we weren't able to meet in Pensacola, but I did want to go through what I was working on then, and now it's even more, I would say, materialized and more clarified the whole idea about what I'm going through and what we'll be offering. And so I'll just get right to it. So I'm starting this new company where we are offering virtual assistants and associates to digital marketing agencies, directly to realtors or lawyers and different companies in the States, and other countries, where hiring a resource and hiring a technical resource is, of course, at a higher price point, and finding a resource more affordable who is working full time from a remote location, it does help out with a lot of cost reductions, but it's at the same time it helps a lot with sales. um, i had a I had a conversation with a person in Pensacola who was in an insurance company and was a sales associate. And now the base salary he was getting was about $40,000 a year at least, and then of course bonuses over every sale. Now what I was pitching to them wasn't that, oh, you guys get an assistant for the whole company, or that for the CEO you get an assistant for actually the sales associate and help him grow his sales, help him grow his network, and bring more sales to him so he can actually materialize it for the insurance company, so they don't have to restructure anything. They can just keep on working with the same structure and carry it on. So I wanted I- I've I wanted a feedback from you, if there was, if it's possible. I know my friend is working only with digital marketing agencies and providing only digital marketing associates for companies, um, and only three different roles that he is providing, which is, of course, social media executive, digital marketing associate, sales development rep, accountant, accounts manager. So only three positions that are very mainly only focused for, of course, digital marketing agencies, and then only working with them. So he has this niche. I want to really explore what kind of niche I can work with. But because I've been exposed and I've been working with my dad primarily, and we've been working with the masses and human resource, I don't want to only establish a company that's going to help maybe 2,000, 3,000 people, because that's going to be the capacity of the company ultimately, right?
Right.
But I want to create a platform that enables other people to start the same business. um, and we provide the backbone. We provide the whole structure, we provide the whole system, the whole team, the whole management team. And then you, for example, tell me, okay, I want to start this business, I want to partner with you, and ultimately I want to go to 1,000 different only social media managers. Or a friend of mine who is working in GM, just now retiring as an engineer, he wants to hire remote employees for automotive companies, for their technical staff. So he will be hiring people at the very higher price point, but at the same time, extremely high skilled part of the industry. Um, so providing the backbone for him, because now he doesn't want to focus on the business part. He wants to focus on the sales and really building the business. So that's where we come in as well. So these are two things that I'm trying to start at the same time, and just wanted a feedback, or who do you think would be a good customer, maybe in your circle, or someone who you think.
Mainly is, I would say, as a feedback and more of an advice, research, because I worked myself too, and still today, with 17 industries niche, 17 type of businesses. So I had to learn a little bit how they work and understand their language and their audiences to convey that message that conveys to them. It is a bit challenging. Like for me, I had a hard time to identify, not to identify, I knew I could help more than one niche, right? Like I'm a specialist in one thing. No, I'm not, because a T-shaped marketer should understand the business side, and in terms of development, right? So we look at I look at the development, the business, and I'm like, okay, that's missing. what's missing. Let's put the people in place. Once the business development side is somehow stable, then you can start go to the market. And when you go to the market, in the beginning, that's how I started. Like, I didn't really care much of the industry, but I still was careful of what I could not handle. So if their business is like, for example, crypto or something more, I don't get into it because it's just not my field. So I stay away from that. So I had to turn down business in that, for that matter. So what I did, I just kind of stuck with what worked for me. And over the years, in the last 7 years, I figured out, okay, this is the kind of niche I want to gear more towards. So I kind of picked only 4 or 5 niches. Now, just so that doesn't mean that we cannot market for any type of business size, the business or industry. Because we do have the experience. But as a feedback is, if they say, as you know, they say from the beginning, pick up a niche, make yourself a specialist in the field and become an expert in the field. And, but who's to say so when there is a general doctor too, right? Like, you can be the general doctor or the intern doctor, or like the internal doctor, where you can identify something and then you send it to a specialist. That's the same kind of idea applies to us too. Well, let's see, like, so that's what I come in as a strategist, and I can, okay, can we do this? No, we cannot. Or can we do this? Okay, we can. Let's send it to that specialist that knows this type of industry, that has experience with this type of industry. That's one. Feedback is research, right? Like, you gotta learn the other business just like you learn anything else. Then I take customer value journey and I do their avatar, like who's their demographics and what are they missing, and I conduct an audit. And based on the audit, then we can identify what needs to be done in order to establish the goals that has been first we got to have a conversation and say, what's your goal? And your goal is to grow your business, right? Well, and that's the goal. And then we got to develop a plan and execute what works to help us to aim and reach that goal. So without having realistic goals, having a plan in place, and it's also a trial and error. You got to try to fail, and you got to fail to try. I mean, kind of goes both ways.
Yeah, that's very true. Lastly, I would just be asking you, would you be buying, if you were a customer, what would you be looking for? If I offered something as like a virtual assistant for you, what do you think is like not available in the market as of now?
I think ad specialists, because they change so much. Like, ad specialists, it's very important. Having a social media presence, organic, is important, but more important is having ads, because without the paid advertising, without paying, there's no play. So social media marketing is 90% ruling the business role in terms of visibility and reach. And not, when I say social media, I don't talk about just Facebook or Instagram, or I'm talking about other channels. Then you have Google rank. So that's where we have the search engine optimization, and that's a whole nother animal. And those are some of the experts that I would look more for. So ad specialist, definitely SEO specialist.
Awesome.
In my case, yeah.
Yeah, of course. I
would like to have salespeople if it would be, but I don't know in terms, like I mentioned earlier to you, we had a little bit of conversation prior recording. It's no, if it's difficult because having you have a system in place in cold calling and email and but I tell you what, yes, it's a good sales process. It's needed. It should be in place. But my sales didn't come from there. My sales came from meeting people, from word of mouth, from referral, from really sticking with my guns and being out there and show an example of what it's like to have an active brand, and then emphasize on it and create a little bit of fear of missing out. I mean, FOMO is one of the most important in marketing.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if in my profile is something you miss out, but it's like with Ara is like, what's next? What's new? Because she's always having something new.
Yeah.
And you don't know what it is, right? Like it can be a video about marketing. It can be a video about dancing in a kitchen.
Yeah, sometimes you're preaching how to be a good person, and sometimes you're like, okay, this is marketing.
It's life, but it's like over time you get to know that person, just like I kind of got to know the version of Gary Vee online. I don't know him offline so well, right? But I know that version. I liked, I enjoyed, I watched. Same thing happened to anybody, to all of us. That's what helped me the most is tons of videos. I say to all the people, if you do videos and especially with reels and especially with all the tools that are providing right now, I mean, content, it's really what people consume. So let's serve them what they want.
Exactly. So I make videos almost every day, and then post those. But this is actually, I've made this video like 3-4 times, that we really need to make videos because it's so necessary. And again, content is something that people consume, and we're not making quality content for them. So we can't really expect people to also know more things until we actually teach them. We have to come to the front and teach them. And now I feel like I'm answering my own questions that I would be asking. But that's very true. If anything there is that you might want to add, I think the question I had, I've pretty much asked them all. But
I want to just, the people that if there's a message that this message gets, not just in the United States, but in Pakistan,
yeah,
is for them to take the job seriously, because this is a great opportunity to have this opportunity in 2023, when in 2000, this was not possible so much.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite possible.
Yeah.
The fact that the internet can offer to different societies or different regions a better living and a job, I would definitely, like me, become an expert and help that client like I helped that client, and I over deliver. I always over deliver, and I keep my client for a long time. So my retention is 3 to 5 years. Some of them are 6 years. So it's nice when you have that relationship built with them for that long, because once they trust you, it's like they never leave you, right?
Yeah, of course. It's very true.
So that's the trust. I suggest to anyone who wants to, like a freelancer and they want to work in this field, to really emphasize and remember who's the client.
For sure. And yeah, client. The one thing because that's where a lot of people say that the majority of remote staff lacks, is really customer satisfaction. That we forget that people from other regions come with different values. And if I say that something's to be delivered at 1 p.m., it's supposed to be at 12:50, not 1:30 or 2 p.m., or maybe the next day at 1 p.m., because we came up with some excuse.
Right.
So that's a big challenge in a lot of regions, I would say, especially sometimes in the Pakistani region, but it's getting improved a lot. and we see less and less of it now. It used to be a very big deal breaker, of course. I mean, it would be a deal breaker for me too. I wouldn't hire someone for cheaper even. I would pay twice, but I would want to be punctual, and I would want to be
Right.
on time. Um, Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time and great advices. I hope you have a very amazing journey up ahead. And you know where to find me. If you need anything, we're always welcome. We're always willing to help anyone for whatever. So thank you so much again for doing everything you're doing. And it's really inspiring to see you always on social media and doing all these amazing things.
Thank you so much for having me, and I wish you the best too. And yeah, I'm sure we're gonna collaborate, and I'm sure we're gonna do some magic together.
Definitely. Looking forward to it.
Startups, entrepreneurship, starting your own new business. Join me every week as we dive into stories, topics, and advices from the top founders, innovators, the crazy ones, the misfits, the troublemakers. Every Saturday at 4 p.m. I'll see you there.